with a black backdrop. Should you ever trust a man? My question is, why do we need to debate this? And the answer is, yes, we need to debate this because men, there's a 50-50. Should you trust a man? Should you not trust a man? You would never hear this question about a woman. Should you trust a woman or not? Because you know what? Without any confusion, you can never trust a woman. There is a chance of trusting a man, but there's no chance of trusting a woman. But you know what? Women play this game. They put this all on men. Oh, you can't trust a man. Men can never be trusted. Dennis, can you hear me? I'm on a bad connection today, man.
Yeah, you're breaking up in and out, so I missed that last part. Yeah, it's like you're buffering, FQ.
What's going on? Having a bad day, I tell you.
Yeah, so while FQ's kind of getting the, he's getting
Take over for now. I'll fix my.
Yeah, so while he's getting his technical issues, his technical difficulties taken care of on his end. So really what we're talking about today is trust and whether or not we should take and I mean, FQ kind of started it off with talking about whether or not a man should ever be trusted. And my question is should your partner ever be trusted regardless of the gender? And I think I just think that's an even more appropriate question because in many cases, when I work with couples, one of the things I hear on a very frequent and regular basis is simply that, I can't trust them. I don't trust them. I can't trust them. And so what I want to say is to kind of set to kind of set the stage for today's discussion is that, we in so many ways we talk about people like we teach our children that trust must be earned. And I'm going to come out and challenge that and say that trust is actually given. So trust is actually given. I'm going to take and remove FQ from the stream here until he gets everything taken care of. So trust is given. So with that being said, it's kind of when you think about it like respect, we talk about respect is earned, and that I agree with. I am not talking about the basic respect we have for humanity and our fellow man and so forth. What I'm specifically talking about is respect itself is earned. So the only way that I can take and respect somebody is because of their actions, because of benchmarks that I have set for myself of what I consider to be respectful or respectable in that case. But trust, I think, is much different. And so especially when we're talking about it in the context of a significant other or a romantic relationship, trust is given. It cannot be earned. Because every time, you think about that statement, if trust is earned, and I understand teaching that to children, but we're not children once we're in an adult relationship. So the trust part must be given, and I'm not saying it won't ever be messed up or we don't take advantage of that sometimes with our significant other. I'm just simply saying is that there's really not any way to earn trust, because if I want to take and make it out like April can't, or April needs to prove to me that I can trust her, how do you prove that? Because I can always find a reason why what she's doing won't work. And I hear this a lot when I'm working with couples, is that, well, they need to find a way to prove to me. Prove what? This is your partner. This is your significant other. So should we trust a man? I think we need to trust a man as much as we trust a woman. And what I'm going to say is, if we don't have that trust, then really, really look at your relationship. Because if there's no trust there, like to me, I don't know, I'm just going to speak for myself in my context. That's a complete deal breaker. No trust, that there's not even any reason to be together, because I can always give trust again. Go ahead.
Well, unfortunately, my opening got lost because of technical issues. My point was, we're having a debate, should you ever trust a man? The reason we're having this debate is because there is a possibility of trusting a man or not trusting a man, 50-50. In case of a woman, you just cannot trust women. It's impossible to trust women. Women play this game of putting the blame on men. Should men be trusted? Oh, you can't trust a man. It's the women you can't trust, man. That's my point. I know women will hate hearing that, but that's a fact. You can't trust women. They're not trustworthy. They're cheaters, man. Come on. Generally speaking, I know Dennis has a straight poker face right now because I'm going completely politically incorrect. But you know what? Here's my point, man. Women are as untrustworthy as are men. But my point,
Absolutely.
on a serious note, leaving the jokes behind, on a serious note, I'm completely opposite from you today, Dennis, for a change. And when you suggested this topic, I was like, yeah, man, finally we won't agree. If you have trust in a relationship, I think you're taking the relationship for granted. And I've said this before in one of the shows, and you didn't like what I said. I think you should never completely trust your partner. You should always have this a certain level of lack of trust for each other. That'll keep you on the edge, because you know what? If you completely trust the other person, you're basically becoming complacent about your responsibility. Oh, he's not going to go anywhere. I trust him completely. And as a result, I don't have to do anything. Oh, you know what? She's completely trustworthy. Nothing's going to happen. I trust her to go wherever, do wherever, do whatever, hang out with whoever. And you would become complacent. And you're basically opening the possibility of something going wrong. So in my opinion, you should never completely trust your partner. And I'm serious about that.
I'm really trying to think about how to take and even respond to that. Listen.
That's a perspective.
I totally understand where you're coming from. I do understand where you're coming from. I don't know that I'm on board with agreeing with that. And the reason I say that, and I'll tell you, here's what I'm saying is me trusting April. So we'll just put it into context. So let's just take and set the stage here. So in regards to cheating. So there's aren't there different levels? So when April goes to the store, when April goes to the shoe store, I do not trust that she will not come home with anything. So what I actually trust is that she will come home with a new pair of shoes. So what in regards to cheating, what I'm going to say is when we give our partner trust, what that's really doing is that releases me from all kinds of worry, all kinds of stress, and so forth. I don't have if I just have a very basic feeling that if somebody's going to cheat, they're going to cheat. I can't stop that. That has nothing to do with trust. That has nothing to do with anything. That has to do with that personal. No, let me finish. That has to do with that individual taking and making a choice. That has nothing to do with me. Nothing.
You have completely contradicted yourself, man. You've just completely contradicted. You're saying that you will not be feeling the fire. If your partner's going to cheat, you're saying you have no role in responsibility.
Listen, man, you can't be bringing shit up from like 2 fucking weeks ago that we talked about.
Why not?
I can't even keep track of this fucking conversation. So like,
no, why not? Like you're saying if someone's going to cheat, they're going to cheat. I can't do anything. Why not?
Right?
Maybe you're creating a situation for them to cheat.
Listen, I understand what you're saying. We're talking about trust though, and so with trust. Taking and trusting that April is not going to cheat on me, why would I even worry about that? What I'm going to say is, trust, when we say that there's a lack of trust, my question is, what evidence have they given you? What evidence have they given you that they're not trustworthy? So it's kind of like this. My wife said, well, we're having a conversation because we have some family stuff going on right now. And with that, she's like, well, I'd like to believe things would be different. And I'm like, well, that's great. That's a fairy tale. That's a fantasy. That's something you wake up and talk about. Man, I dream this. I said, because that particular individual has never given you any indication that they won't act like an asshole. They've never done that. So to trust that it will be different, you're setting yourself up to fail. When we're talking about the trust part, I'm going to come out and say this. Me taking and trusting April, that me giving her that trust, really what I'm saying is, now I don't have to take and worry about stupid stuff. So I just think it's a really interesting thing. You can certainly set your partner up to fail. You cannot set your partner up. You tell me, how can I set my partner up to cheat on me? I don't understand that.
By ignoring her, completely being complacent about it. But okay, let me reword. Bina is completely trustworthy, alhamdulillah, not word. She's completely trustworthy, but I don't trust her. She does not give me a headache. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not having panic attacks when she's out alone, but I don't trust her. So maybe I'm just saying it differently. We're saying different things. I'm not going to become complacent and eliminate the possibility of anything happening. And I won't even say the word cheat, because in my book there's no cheat. Cheating is nothing. In my
Me too.
in my book, it's an event or a situation that happens. And if you're honest about it, it's an event. If you're not honest, it's cheating. So screw the cheating part. But I'm not going to become complacent about the fact that nothing can happen. She'd love the hot chick. I mean, she's going to go out. Something could happen. I'm not going to trust her to not to falter. I'm never going to trust her. She could falter, and I'm not going to be keeping an eye on her, policing her. I'm not going to be suffocating her, but I'm going to make my best effort for that not to happen.
Agreed.
So that's what I
think that this is where we're actually coming on.
We're agreeing again, man. We're agreeing again.
I know, because you because when you just admit that I have superior intellect.
Yeah.
But then it wouldn't be any fun, right? So
how the hell do you argue with logic, man? How do you argue with logic? I thought we'd have a fight today.
I just want to say this, and I would like to really point this out, is that when we talk about, everything gets looked at as like, oh, cheating is just this like big, like, oh, it's just such a big thing and it's a big deal. I'm talking, like, I just think that too much emphasis is put on that. Anytime we think of trust, we always look at the cheating aspect of it, and it's just, to me, that's really low-hanging fruit. And I'll tell you, like, I just believe most people, especially in a relationship, unless the relationship has hit a point where it's just shit for that moment, most people are like, yeah, I wouldn't want to do that to my partner. I wouldn't want to break the trust with my partner. I wouldn't want my partner to think that way. Like, I am one of those people. Like, I am with April for reasons. And part of those is because I respect her opinion. And so I want her opinion on things. And so with that being said, it's like there has to be a level of trust. My biggest point in all of today has nothing to do with cheating. It has nothing to do with that, because I, like you, think that's an event. An affair, cheating, and is like, hey, I'm dating somebody else. So I look at that whole situation as though that's an act. Just the same as if we had an agreement that I wasn't going to spend money on more weightlifting equipment, and then I go out and do that. I broke trust. So that's what I think we have to understand. And I'm going to say, more than trust and grace go hand in hand, especially in a partnership. And somebody, I believe it was Rafia that put something in here, is that something about the trust. And you know what? Truthfully, like, Rafia, to kind of answer that question, like, I don't trust 90% of humanity. But as far as bringing them into my life, what I trust that 95% of humanity is going to act like an idiot. That's what I trust. And guess what? Then I don't get disappointed. I don't have like ridiculous expectations. So again, trust is given, respect is earned. I think we've had that backwards, at least in my culture. We've had that backwards for a long time. Trust is given. When I give trust, it makes my life easier.
Okay, let me throw in another perspective. I just realized Dina is completely trustworthy, and I'm completely untrustworthy. And I'm saying it, without any doubt. However, she trusts me quite a bit. You do, sort of. I don't trust her. So I think it's my own. I think it's because I am completely untrustworthy. I think the whole world's untrustworthy. And because she's trustworthy, so she thinks everyone's trustworthy. She's naive. Never trust me. I'm just too hot. I'm just too. How can you trust this? Now look at this. It's impossible. So I think when you reflect lack of trust on the other person, I think you're reflecting your own inner self on the other person.
Outstanding. I 100% agree with that. I 100% agree with that. Yeah, it's a very complex topic. I think, but I also think it is a complex topic, but we overcomplicate it because we just attach so many layers of emotion to it. And I think it's, when you look at trust for what trust actually is, like, I trust that, I trust that at some point today, April will make a comment that chaps my ass. I trust that.
Yeah.
But I also trust that I am in an emotional, like, intelligent place in my life to where her making a comment like that won't have the same effect on me. So trust is also, it starts with ourselves. And again, you said it, a lot of times we take and transfer that emotion onto somebody else. I don't trust this, so I'm automatically not going to trust you in that situation either. When we can get FQ, what we're talking about is what we continue to talk about as biases. And we bring those biases into our relationship, and then we get it all muddled up with concepts like trust. So I'm just going to say trust is given. And the reason I like to give trust is because, honestly, at the end of the day, it makes my life easier. If I'm constantly running around thinking that, oh, I can't trust this person, I can't trust that person, all that does is make me paranoid. I don't want to be paranoid. So for me to not feel paranoid, I have to take and learn to give trust. That starts internally, though.
I enjoy the paranoia. I enjoy the paranoia. I enjoy being on the edge. You know, I don't want to be with, God, I don't know. I don't think I want to be with somebody I can completely trust. That's boring. And Rafi made a comment to that. It's very interesting. You know, I'm going to plug that in right now. We're not looking at comments, but someone to plug that. I would never trust in a relationship because I will get bored and move to someone else. You know, I relate to that completely.
Understood.
And I wouldn't want to be with somebody so boring who could be trusted completely. But yet, I would want to be with someone who's completely trustworthy, but there has to be enough mojo so you don't trust them. Am I making sense? I mean, do you see where I'm coming from?
I think you're making as much sense as I am. I think it's just a complex issue, man. I do. I think it's just a complex issue.
No,
I think it gets challenging to talk about.
It's actually a simple issue.
Well,
No,
it is simple, except that the human in us puts like, oh, well, this is not trusting, this isn't, and we set all these criteria, and it goes to the thing I like to say a lot, which is that when you qualify someone, or when you quantify somebody else's experience based on your own qualifications, all you're doing is trying to elevate yourself. Well, I wouldn't do that. You know, I trust people over on this side, but I don't trust them on this side. I mean, you know, we have a big challenge where this is concerned, and I don't think that human minds are necessarily capable of understanding this completely. So again, you know what? I think that what we're talking about is simply, should you trust a man? You should trust a man as much as you should take and trust a woman, and you should trust a woman as much as you trust a man. So it's really, to me, this is not a gender specific real topic here. But again, what I'm really saying is giving trust is going to set the whole couple, it's going to set the relationship, it's going to set the individuals up to succeed. And ultimately, as partners, that's really what our job is to help each other be successful, to truly be a helpmaker or a helpmeet to each other. So that's what I trust. I trust that April and I will stay together. I trust that we will work things out when we have conflict or difficulty. I trust I trust a lot of things in my relationship. I would not want to be in a relationship where there is no trust. To me, having that trust allows me to have a certain level of excitement, where you're saying that excitement for you comes in when a little bit of trust isn't there. So it's very subjective, and it's each individual.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of being humans and having respect for one another, period.
I think, yeah. You know, I love the fact that she's completely trustworthy, and I wouldn't want to be with anyone who's not completely trustworthy. In fact, I have been with someone who's not completely trustworthy, and that gave me a heart attack. It didn't work for me, and that person's obviously not my life now. So I love the fact that she's completely trustworthy. But at the same time, I want to throw in lack of trust, which makes it all exciting and beautiful. And somebody who looks like me or her or you, How can we can't be trusted? We're just beautiful people. We're hot, sexy. We got in the street, and shit's bound to happen, man. So you can't really trust for nothing to happen. Okay, let me put it this way. I trust her to not do anything because she's completely trustworthy, but I do not trust for something to not happen.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Did you follow that?
I did. Yeah. I totally understand where you're coming from, man. I think, again, I'm just going to say that I think that this is all individual for everybody. And again, I think what I'm going to say is when you ask me about how do you throw fuel on the fire, what I'm going to say is if you have trust issues and you're constantly bringing those trust issues up, that's throwing fuel on that fire. So
Right.
So
and that kind of lack of trust is fucked up anyways. That kind of lack of trust is unhealthy lack of trust. That is a screw up. If you're throwing that into a relationship, oh, where did you go? Who did you talk to? Let me check your phone. That's fucked up, man.
Right.
That's the end of a relationship.
Absolutely. Like if that's what you're dealing with, like it's time to reset and really, really look at that because that's no way to live. That's just no way to live. I liken that to being controlled, and I liken that to the only people in my world that are controlled are inmates. And I don't want to be treated like an inmate in my own home or in my own relationship. So I do believe that we transfer this stuff on to other people, especially our significant other. So I wanted to take a comment really quickly because Sean, my good friend, it sounds like you like to complicate relationships. You want to be with people you can't trust. F that. I don't think we want to complicate relationships. I think what we're talking about is a topic that actually comes up in relationships. So in my work with couples, trust is a huge issue. And the biggest point I'm trying to make, Sean, is that trust is given. It cannot be earned. It just can't. I mean, that's a concept that we teach our children. And it seems in a lot of cases, it ends up getting carried over into our relationships. And I'm not married to somebody with a childlike mind. So that trust is absolutely essential. And I don't want to be, listen, FQ and we don't have to agree on everything. I don't want to be in a relationship without trust either, because that just makes my life way more difficult. And I'm already prone to being a paranoid a-hole in the first place. So you really don't want me being paranoid thinking that I can find something on you, because I guarantee if I look hard enough, I can find something on somebody. So thanks, Sean. I appreciate that.
I just realized what's wrong with my connection. It's happened to me before. Remember, Dennis? And I completely forgot. It's bloody Chrome, which my machine keeps running forever. My machine runs perpetually, and after about a week or two, Chrome just goes bonkers. So I just killed Chrome and restarted, and here we are.
Outstanding. So let's get into some comments here. And
right.
This is the one.
Yeah.
This is an interesting comment. Trust is love. You know what? I don't know. There's people that I trust that I don't love, and there's actually people in my life that I love very much, and I don't trust them for nothing. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
So I think that's subjective. It's totally useless to discuss this. With due respect. Well, with all disrespect, Soheeb, I don't really understand that comment. And like, if we have to get along with other people, whether we like it or not, I don't agree with that either. I don't have to get along with anybody. That's all my choice.
And also, it's also never useless to discuss anything. I'm sorry. That's foundation for failure. You need to be able to discuss everything.
Absolutely.
Remember that in your relationship or life, my friend.
Crime and sin. Hamad. Good to see you again, my friend. Thanks for joining us again. Crime and sin are both highly. Yes, I would agree. Trust with what? I'm going to say with everything. And again, this is our talk today is specifically in the context of interpersonal relationships, mainly romantic relationships. So yes, thank you. And I like this one. Right, exactly, Bushra. Come on, FQ.
Dude, you know what? I've said this repeatedly. People take social media too seriously, and they treat life like a joke. I take life seriously. Social media is just a joke, man. It's just
Yeah, and this is
Never take me
another
seriously.
really interesting comment. We can't survive in this world. Listen, we're talking specifically about romantic relationships. As far as surviving in the world, I'm going to just come out and say, when I travel to other countries, I can assure you there is absolutely no trust. There's absolutely no trust, and that keeps my guard up, and that until I start to build
Thank you.
rapport with people. Like, I just don't agree with that statement. I think we have to trust people that are in our inner circle. But as far as trusting, I don't know. A woman doesn't have to trust her father, her brother. And what I'm hearing in like a lot of parts of the world, the woman absolutely does trust her brother and her father to rape her. So like, I just don't agree with this, Sahib. I really appreciate that.
There
and,
is no
God
have
bless
to
you.
and there's no general. You can't do a have to and you can't make a generalized statement like that.
All right. So Bushra said something, but now I have to be nice and give the opposite side. So Faisal, you make a point. I don't know, Rafia. Nah. He might make a point, but not necessarily a good one.
You're jealous, Dennis. Stop being jealous.
I am very jealous. Here it is. The possibility of something going wrong is there, whether you want to police them or not. Absolutely, Sean. Totally agree. And I'm going to tell you, I don't want to police. I just don't. Like, I really don't want to be involved in I really don't want to be involved in a relationship where I feel like I'm put in a position to have to like watch everything and to police the other person and stuff. And I agree with your next statement here because it's not a position. Absolutely.
So, bro, when I say I don't trust, I don't police either. For me, the lack of if you have to police, your relationship has already collapsed.
Yeah.
So when I say lack of trust, it's lack of trust for the just to be awake and alert and not just get complacent. But if you're having to police and check and send private investigators, it's over. Get out of there.
Sean, like you and I still need to go grab a coffee. So like we absolutely do. Thank you so much. And you are correct. Hey, but we you know what, on this particular show, Sean, FQ and I, we don't just own our bad behavior, we exploit it. Rafia, this is an interesting comment. Thank you. Okay. Hey, fair enough. I mean, you know what? And I'm just saying that is subjective. That is 100% you're right and stuff like that. And listen, I think we all do things that we feel will add value to our life. Me not trusting other people and going around like just trusting that everyone will like screw me over and hurt me. Like that, I did that for a long time, and you know, it just went along with my life metaphor, and we'll get into that at some point. But metaphors are extremely powerful, and when you adopt a metaphor that like life is a battlefield, then you know, you automatically look at everybody as though they're your enemy, and there is no trust involved in that. So you're lagging. Bushra, thank you so much for saying this, and I appreciate you saying this, and I just want to reiterate it, and I've said it on this broadcast before, which is that until you recognize and honor, not just acknowledge, but you must acknowledge and honor your partner's humanness. If we see each others as humans first, our relationships will be better, because that we don't take that entitlement. So there's always just a certain amount of entitlement that goes along with, you know, well, that's my wife. I can talk like I want. Well, why would I? I wouldn't say, you know, there's certain things I wouldn't say to you, Bushra, out of respect and kindness for you. Why should I say those things to my wife? So absolutely, please honor the humanness in your partner and extend grace. Thank you.
Hey, you know what? We really tried, Rafia, but you know what? I was really hoping today we'd have a...
We're just too smart. We're just too smart, and we see the futility in arguing with one another, because we create way too much good stuff without arguing. So thank you.
All right, let's skip.
Yes, absolutely. Trust that people will act like humans. Absolutely. That's brilliant. Thank you, Bushra. I really appreciate that. Man, I'm just going to show this. We've really struck a nerve with Sohaib here.
Yeah. That's all right,
Shireen,
man.
thank you so much for joining us. Hello to you. Really appreciate this.
Hey, Shireen.
Real quick. Rubina, thank you so much. Appreciate you joining us again. Just want to give a shout out to you. Come on, Hamad. What are you talking about?
Not possible, man. We tried.
Okay, trust is subjective. People cheat, lie, scheme. Let's see. Something. Yeah, good. That's I understand where you're coming from, Bushra. So thank you. Complicate relationships. We already went through that one. Oh. Some people act like they have descended from chipmunks. Rafia, I am not even going to dispute that comment. That I would say that's probably accurate. Is that we don't always act as though we're the most. I think we like to claim that we're the most intelligent species on the planet, but I don't think that we always necessarily act that way. So, hey, everybody, thank you so much. Oh, one more.
I'm not policing anyone to take my child prep because I don't want to have any bad trust influences. Yes. That's about that.
Yeah, Bushra, listen, I mean, you got to take and set your kids up for success. So I'm just going to say I don't know really what you mean by policing. I think you're referring to parenting. And I just want to say that I'm really appreciative living in the United States with you and that there's parents like you that are actually attentive to your children and actually trying to bring them up, in a respectful way and so forth.
Well
so
done.
Thank you, Bushra. I really appreciate that. And so everybody, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate your patience as we dealt with the technical difficulties today. We will not have a broadcast tomorrow, so we will actually rejoin you on Monday. So thank you so much for being with us this week. To everybody in Karachi, many blessings and love to you as the place continues to dry out.
Yeah. All right. Good night. See you Monday.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.